Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, hump day, CPI day. CPI has come in below expectations at 5% versus 5.1% expected. The core CPI is still kind of sticking around with us at 5.6% versus 5.6% expected, and actually up from 5.5% as of last month. Whereas regular CPI fell from 6% to 5%. So good reading in terms of regular CPI year over year. In terms of core CPI, that is still kind of sticky. So that is going to moderate some of the bullishness that we're experiencing so far this morning. We went all the way up to 413.75, so up about $4 from before. Currently trading at 411.64, up about 0.5%. So my guess is that we'll probably be bullish or neutral today, and it really depends on where the yields are going. So I'm going to be watching the 10-year. 10-year Treasury yield currently at 3.378. If this does stick around at this 3.4 level, then I think that we could have a pretty neutral day for the market, because the markets are still pricing in a 25 basis point rate hike for the May meeting on May 3rd as of right now. So they haven't reduced the probabilities by much that we're not going to raise at the May meeting. It was 73% yesterday, so this is down about 5%. But 25 basis points is still on the table as of right now, even after this good CPI report. So I think either you're going to have one of two scenarios. If yields and that probability starts to come down, then you'll see probably 413 and above. But if you don't see that, if you see that we're still having 25 basis points priced in, I think it's going to be below 413 and probably above 410. So we're probably not going to go up more than 0.75%, even with the good CPI report today. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Kamala. Good morning, Being Human. Let's make some money, hopefully. Good morning, Cinema Gal. Welcome, everybody. I had an Iron Condor assuming SPY below 410. Let's see, that one's probably down a shit ton. Yeah, down 150 actually. It's not as bad as I would have thought. With SPY trading at 412 at the moment, I would have expected these to be a lot worse than they are, but there is still probably going to be a lot of volatility throughout the day. Maybe we can get closer to 410 by the end of the day. Again, I'm assuming we're going to be neutral, so that would maybe put us down to 411 or so, or maybe 410.50. So I could wait on this a little bit in order to cut my losses a little bit shorter. They're trading for 70 right now. I opened them at 56 apiece, so it's good that I got a lot of credit for each of them. Instead of taking a low credit, that would have been a lot worse of a trade-off. But I've got 10 of them that I opened at 56. I'm going to try to close it closer again to 410. So maybe if we go below 411, another $1 down or so. Right now we're bullish on the RSI, currently at 56. So in terms of technical analysis, not a super promising bet saying that we'll go down to 411. But you are seeing the MACD starting to cross over here. Would still need to see that blue line go in negative below this 0 mark, the purple line, in order for that to really be bearish. IWM is leading the way again today, up 0.7% at 178. So you're seeing a lot of risk taking this morning, with IWM leading the way. Yesterday, this closed at 177. Right now, we're at 178.41. But this is actually pulling back seemingly the quickest out of all of the indices as of right now. Interesting enough. Although it is up the most of the indices too. So it has more to give up. But QQQ is pulling back to almost the range that it was in yesterday. Well, I guess the start of the range was 317.86, so it's actually below yesterday's open at the moment. And then we had that steep drop at 317 to 315.82. So if we get back in that range, that could be a little bit dodgy there. Hi, Mr. Taudai. Welcome. But yeah, we had a pretty brutal sell-off at the end of the day yesterday for everything going into the CPI day. It was like a 15-minute sell-off where we basically gave up all that we gained throughout the day. We had this slow climb, and then the last 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes gave all of that up. All right, looks like IWM is catching some support at the 178.41 mark right now. And then SPY's at that 412 mark. You got that 412.35 resistance overhead. And then for QQQ, you're looking at like 317.84 was the open yesterday. And then that 318.74 mark above that. Surprisingly, QQQ is lagging behind everything. Even with this good CPI report, you would have thought that big tech could have benefited from a good CPI, but it doesn't seem to be the case so far this morning. But the Dow is actually up the least of them. But the last 2-3 days now has been a climb for the Dow versus QQQ. Kind of just trading flat for the last few days. Any thoughts for UVixy? I think UVixy for right now is pretty dead, to say the least. Currently trading at 414. So in the low fours, the VIX is at 1850 yet again, trading at that $18 level. So we're probably just going to be hanging here until something ends up going wrong with another one of the banks, maybe, is my guess. Either that or the next Fed meeting, which is all the way on May 3rd. So you're probably just going to have at least a week or so trading between like $18 and $20 would be my guess. So maybe an iron condor for regular VIX could be a decent play. And then for UVixy, you could just do not a cover call. You could do a cover call if you have shares of it. Obviously, you'd be down on the price you bought it at. But assuming this would be below 450 for the next 1-2 weeks might be a pretty safe bet, I would think. Let's see, that's 30 cents on a $4 stock. It would have to go up by 7% for the VIX. That would be 107 times trading at 1850 right now. That's about the $20 mark that you're looking for there. So my guess, probably not going to see the VIX above 20 until, again, another one of the banks ends up going belly up, or at the next Fed meeting on May 3rd. Can you trade spreads in iron condors on VIX? Yes, you can. Not with Robinhood. Robinhood, you can't trade VIX at all. But if you have other brokers, I know that you can do it on Thinkorswim. You can trade options here. You could also do it on Aries, and then pretty much any broker that's not Robinhood is able to trade options on the VIX. How much should you do for cover calls? I would probably, for UVIXI, let's see, it's trading at 420 right now. I would probably sell like a 5 or 550 cover call on UVIXI. Depending on obviously where you bought it, you could be at a profit or a loss there. But I think that would be a reasonable trade for maybe like the next 3 weeks before the Fed meeting. That way you can collect a little bit of credit at least while you wait for the next Fed meeting. Looks like everything is starting to pull back a little bit. QQQ is only up 0.2% now. IWM is still up 0.75. So, again, a lot of risk taking this morning after this good inflation report. You're testing that 178.41 mark again here. I would probably want to see this below like 177.65, this last support level, before I would start taking some bearish positions. But yeah, if this starts to lead the downside, this again is like a risk on indicator. It's the small caps, which are more risky than large and mega cap companies because they have less capital, which makes it harder for them to survive like a recession. So if IWM starts to give up its lead, the markets would be going risk off, and then you would probably see a flip from green to red for the rest of the indices, especially QQQ, since it's only up by 0.2% right now. But yeah, you're testing that 178.41 support level again, which we ended up bouncing at before. So we'll see if it ends up pulling back here or not. The VIX is at 19, almost 1880, so it is recovering a little bit here. But I really don't see the VIX going above 20 probably within the next few weeks, unless, again, another bank failure. Do I ever trade butterflies? Do I think they're a good strategy? Yeah, I think that butterflies can be a really good strategy if you're bullish, because a lot of bullish trades are overpriced right now. And the risk reward on pretty much any bullish trade is just not in your favor. So what you can do to kind of combat that is to use iron butterflies and setting the short strike, or the one that you sell, above the price of the stock. So an idea that I had yesterday that I didn't follow up on was opening a 412 iron butterfly, assuming SPY would be 412 this morning. That trade would have worked basically perfectly, but with the iron butterfly, you need it to be as close to your short strike price, or the one that you sell, and as close to 3:59 p.m. on the expiration date as possible. So yes, it would have made me money overnight, but I wouldn't have got the full max amount of profit, right? So what I was planning to do, setting up an iron butterfly at the 412 strike price, I probably would have gone maybe 4 wide. So I would have bought the 408 put, and then bought a 416 call option, and this is going for 217 at the moment. So if you're assuming that SPY will end the day at 412, you can still get paid $220 of credit for $400 of collateral. So you're risking, let's see, $180 to make $220. So a little bit better than 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. Whereas if you compare this to something like just a regular call debit spread, it's probably going to be more expensive. Let's see. If we do a 411, 412 call debit spread, this is going for 48. So this is basically a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, whereas that iron butterfly was a little bit better than 1-to-1. It was 210 220 versus 180. So you're getting 1.2 versus just 1 reward for your risk. Have I done a call and a put butterfly? Seem to do better than the iron butterfly. I haven't really noticed much of a difference, and there really shouldn't be much of a difference, I would think. You might get, let's see. Calls are generally more expensive right now. Like we just talked about with the call debit spread, calls are generally more expensive as of right now. So you might be able to get a little bit more credit by using a call butterfly versus a put butterfly. Let me verify that though. So if we sell a 412 call, buy again the 416 and then the 408, you're going to edit the ratio to 2 on the 416 call that you're, the 412 call that you're selling. That's not right. Not setting this up correct somehow. All right, let me see. So you'd sell 2 of these, buy the 416, buy the 408, and it should be 2 of the 412s and then 1 of each for the 416. And yeah, there you go. So this one you're getting paid $2.40 now. SPY has fallen about 50 cents since I did the put and call one, so you are going to get paid more because it has to go up more. But let's set up put at the same time, see if that's any different. You're probably going to see a lot of fluctuations in the price of this just because the price of SPY is fluctuating a ton right now. But hopefully we can do it quick enough to where we can get at least an idea, I guess. You're getting $2.50. So there's not really much of a difference between doing a call and a put. The put is actually paying a tad more, but SPY has fallen about 40 cents. So they're probably paying around the same. So an iron butterfly, an iron, and then a call or put butterfly, I don't think is really going to change the amount of credit that you get and your risk reward ratio by much. But you're seeing IWM pulling back to 177.65. That was the mark that I was looking for. Now the markets are going risk off at the moment. That iron condor I had for SPY is actually gaining a little bit of value. I had 10 of them. They're going for $84 a profit at the moment. I opened them at 56. They're currently going for 50 a pop. So I might take profit here. We are headed down pretty quickly, so this could end up bouncing back pretty quick, but really depends on, I feel like it really depends on IWM. I think that's going to send us a clear message of where the markets are going today. If we go from risk on to risk off with IWM, I think that could spell a lot of trouble for SPY. And you're seeing QQQ down 0.1% right now. So that's actually leading the downside down to 315.50. I had a 314, 313 put debit spread. I don't think that we're going to retest of 313 level, but it is possible. With this extra volatility on CPI day, markets can really get riled up. But yeah, I would keep a close eye on the IWM. Could I explain the MACD? Yeah, I can. Let me see the rest of these. Why is QQQ falling? QQQ, you would expect it to go up with the yields pulling back today, but the yields are actually starting to rise back up. So that's where you're running into trouble. The 10-year yield went back up to 3.41. So whenever the yields are going up, QQQ is going to get hit the worst because these tech companies or growth companies, in order to grow their business, they need to take out debt. And if that debt is getting more expensive because of the higher interest rates, then they're not going to be as profitable. They have to pay more money in order to service their debt at higher interest rates. So with the 10-year climbing back up after falling this morning, that's why you're seeing QQQ pulling back right now. And then if you look at, say, the 2-year yield, let's see. 2-year yield is at down 0.09 at the moment. And if we're looking at the last day of trading, well, I guess we have to get rid of ad block here. Bleh. Let me pause the ad block, I guess. So this morning it was down to 3.945. It ended up peaking at 3.989, and now it's at 3.96. So it's getting close to the 4 mark, and that's been a pretty troublesome spot for QQQ and all the growth names. So whenever you see the 2-year hovering around 4, and then the 10-year has been around like 3.4, 3.6 recently, that's when you'll start to get a little bit of edginess and some downside for QQQ. But yeah, my eye right now is on IWM for the most part, just to see if we do go risk on to risk off if we flip that switch. Do I recommend keeping an option overnight? Yeah, I mean, I kept that Iron Condor for SPY open overnight. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of fluctuations in the price, especially if it's something big like CPI day. But you should never really risk more than you're okay with losing. So, I only risked $450 for this Iron Condor and SPY for CPI day, which I was pretty confident in CPI coming in worse than expectations. Obviously, I was wrong about that. But then with the core sticking up, that's where you're getting a little bit of negativity in the market because the Fed is more focused on core PCE. That's their favorite measure of inflation is core PCE. And if core CPI is coming in hot, that means that they're still going to have to keep raising the rates another 25 basis points, which is what we saw with the FOMC countdown tool this morning. And this is still estimating that there's a 69% chance of doing 25 basis points at the May 3rd meeting. So that's actually up from 67% this morning. So that is not a good sign for the market. You're seeing interest rates rising because of that. So you're seeing QQQ pulling back. And then IWM somewhat, but not to its full extent that you're seeing for QQQ. But now we're only up 0.25% for SPY. IWM ended up bouncing at that 177.65 mark. So keep monitoring that. And then the next mark you would want to look for is probably a close below where we ended yesterday. So we ended up closing yesterday at 177.14. So those would be the two marks that I would be looking for IWM, and that'll tell us whether the markets are going to prop up today or if they're going to keep pulling back. Kind of tempted to make a put credit spread for QQQ, if IWM goes up here, we could also just do an IWM put credit spread too. That might be a safer trade if that's what we're watching today. So you got supports at 177.65 and 177. If we do a 177, 176 put credit spread for IWM, right now we're getting paid about 20 cents. It's only about $1 down, though. That's my problem with that trade. And if that selling pressure keeps kind of amplifying like we've seen so far this morning, that would spell some trouble for that put credit spread. But let's see. Seems like we're getting a pretty good support. That was a pretty solid bounce with the wick of that candle so long. A lot of people wanted to buy it at 177.65, it seems like. All right. So keep on watching this, and that will determine whether we want to get out of this SPY trade. 177.85, so we might come down to retest 177.65 again here. Or get close to it at least, I would think. Any earnings trades that I'm taking this week? I was going to take some trades. I have a few stocks that I'm watching. Delta Airlines. Delta is actually down by 2.5% right now after the CPI report. So I'm guessing that ticket prices are probably coming down for airlines, which is weighing negatively on Delta. Let's see, the rest of the airlines. American is down 7% today. Jesus Christ. UAL, United Airlines, down 5%. So yeah, the airlines are getting absolutely crushed by the CPI report. Let's see. And based on my analysis, I'll probably have to redo it now that we're trading so much lower than we were. But based on my previous analysis, let's see. I think that their earnings is going to be okay. I don't think that it's going to be like the best earnings. But they're only expected to do 32-cent earnings per share and $12.05 billion in revenue. And if you compare that to last quarter, they were doing 148 earnings per share and $13.4 billion in revenue. I do think that they would see a pullback in revenue. I think that is actually pretty likely, given that you're going from Q4 to Q1. There's more travel going on in Q4, obviously, for the holiday season. So I do think that you would see a pullback in revenue, but I don't think that you would see that much of a pullback for earnings per share. So maybe they miss on revenue, but I do think that they'll beat on earnings. So for Delta Airlines, my guess is that they would be above 33. Right now they're trading at 33.60. But I would probably move my price target down just because we've already fallen by about $1 from yesterday and $1 from we were trading at the beginning of the week, I think. Let me see. On Monday, actually, let's go by Friday's close. Friday's close was at 33.71, so we're basically at the same price. The down momentum is kind of spooking me at the moment, but their earnings is scheduled for tomorrow after hours. So we do have some time to wait on this. We could wait it out a little bit, but I think it's probably going to stay above either 32.50 or 32. So let me try to set up that trade. But yeah, those are the three earnings stocks that I'm watching this week. Delta, United Health Group, and Citi. Citigroup. Those two are reporting Friday, and then Delta is reporting tomorrow after hours. GFI, I'm not sure what that is. GFAI. Guard Force AI company. Yeah, they're up 47%. Trading higher, continued volatility in AI stocks. People are piling into AI stocks, I guess. I mean, I think that AI, it's a good long-term investment. Short-term, I think that it could be overhyped. I think that AGI, or artificial general intelligence, is still a ways out. Probably at least 5 years would be my guess, probably 10 years until we have like comprehensive artificial intelligence that can do everything that a human can do. But, you know, there is definitely some hype, some momentum in AI right now for sure. Largely driven by ChatGPT, I would say. What am I doing today? Any SPY expiration for tomorrow? Not any expiring tomorrow. For today, I have this iron condor assuming between 400 and 410. So I'm hoping we pull back below 410, depending on what IWM does, though. Right now, IWM is still a little bit up, right below that 177.65 mark. So it ended up slipping below that, and now you're looking at the 177.14 support level that we ended up closing at yesterday. So if IWM goes negative, I think that's gonna be pretty troublesome for the rest of the market. Just because that was the only indice or the only index that was up this morning. But it's looking right now like SPY is going to end the day between 410 and 412. So you could open an iron condor under that assumption. With the yields rising at 3.41 for the 10-year and the odds for 25 basis points at the May meeting not changing, and the good CPI report today, I think that it's going to be pretty neutral. Probably not going to go up more than like 0.5%, but probably not going to go down maybe like 0.25%. So right now we're up 0.35%. We are up by $1.45. So we ended up closing around 410 yesterday. So I would guess would probably be between 409 and 412 by the end of the day, I think. Right now, the 412 call credit spread's paying 31 cents, which is pretty good. IWM is going up a bit right now, though. So if IWM keeps recovering, that would be troublesome here. But let's see. If we go one strike price higher, 413, 414, you're getting paid 21 cents. I would say that's still a pretty good credit, though. Assuming SPY won't go up more than 0.5% from where it's at right now. Momentum is definitely negative, though, currently. You're looking at 49 RSI, so you're looking at neutral, actually, for SPY right now. But if we get rejected by 50 RSI, I think this could continue on down. But yeah, keeping an eye on the Iron Condors, keeping an eye on IWM right now. Not the implosion that I was expecting. Yeah, I mean, we really didn't get much of an explosion. We didn't get much of an implosion. It's just kind of a boring day for CPI. I mean, it's only up 0.3% even after a good CPI report, so that's not super promising. Yeah, QQQ is starting to pull back right now. Or it's starting to go up a little bit. 0.14%. Yeah. Let's see. The close was at 315.82. Now it's at 316.39. So it's not too far from its close yesterday. Still could go negative, but it is regaining some of its strength, seems like, right now. I'd say if it goes above 50, I might be concerned. Thoughts for PayPal? Haven't been really following their stock. I usually trade, if I'm trading individual stocks, it's usually around an earnings report. So if they don't have an earnings report, I probably wouldn't trade it myself right now. Currently trading at 75.55. They're up 2.5%. Interesting. Basically trading off the lows though at 72 or $73. So there's definitely some supports there that you could use for maybe a put credit spread, assuming that it's going to stay above 73 or like 73.50 maybe. So if you're bullish on the market, that would definitely continue to go up, and it would have that support at 73.50 to hold you in case the markets do continue to dip. Their earnings isn't until May 8th after the Fed meeting, so you still got a ways to wait for that. Going all in on Bitcoin. Oh man. Bitcoin is actually up today, I think. Currently up 0.84% at 30,200 right now. But yeah. Keeping an eye. Let's see. IWM seems to be recovering here. Seems to have caught maybe a double bounce. Potentially. Ended up pulling back to like 177.55 twice and ended up coming above it. But lots of volatility for sure. Lots and lots of volatility right now. Could make it go either way. All right, I opened 10 of these at 56. It's trading at 411.50 right now, almost. So might have to close this at a loss here. IWM is at 43 on the RSI, so still weak. SPY is, I think, at 50. So that's neutral here. Let's see if we're looking at a SPY call credit spread, assuming under 412. Now you're probably going to get paid a little bit better than we were earlier. I think it was 31 cents, and now you're looking at 33 cents, so a couple more cents of credit. And then going to 413, you're getting paid 22. So yeah, my guess we're probably going to be between like 409 and 412 by the end of the day, I think. Getting paid 35 cents now for that call credit spread. looking at opening probably 6 of these. Go for 35, 36 each for 216 total credit to risk about 384. Let's see. QQQ is recovering 0.2% right now. So that's kind of what's holding me back from opening this right away. And then IWM. Still trading above 177.65. So I'll probably wait until we get some selling pressure for either QQQ or IWM before I open that. I'll just keep it open and monitor it on my phone over here. All right. These iron condors are down 130-ish. Trading for 70 cents at the ask. All right. Man, these call credit spreads are getting juicy. Getting real juicy right now. 36 cents a piece. If we add in the puts, assuming over 409, you're getting an extra 12 cents. Let's see, for a total of 48 cents a pop, assuming SPY between 409 and 412 by the end of the day. That's pretty good. Let's see. QQQ is up 0.3% now, so still recovering, and the Dow is up 0.6. So the Dow is leading the market today, with the interest rates recovering to 3.4 for the 10-year. IWM still at 178, so not really changing much yet. And then QQQ, 316.74, 48 on the RSI. So we'll see if we get rejected at 50 RSI here or not. And then IWM, you'd probably expect the same here. Those two will probably trade hand in hand today, I think. Surprised that the Dow is up with the airlines bleeding so bad today. Let's see what the banks are up to. KRE, the regional ETF, is flat. XLF, the broad ETF, is up 0.5%. So I'm not sure why the Dow is up 0.5% with industrials and banks not really doing so hot. Might see a pullback for the Dow here. How to play AAL, I'd probably just play it the same way of Delta Airlines. So put credit spread on it. I think would probably be your best fit. Delta Airlines reporting pre-market tomorrow? I thought it was post, but maybe. Let's see. Delta. Yeah, they are reporting pre-market. Interesting. I thought it was post, but yeah, that would be a good trade. Probably above 32, my guess. Put credit spread above 32 would be my trade. Still looking at that iron condor right now for SPY between 409 and 412 at the moment. Could also do maybe a 411 iron butterfly too. That might be a good fit. But yeah, I'll be looking for a pullback in IWM and QQQ, but it doesn't look like we're getting it just yet. Might have to wait a little bit here. Gotta play the waiting game. All right. Seeing a small pullback for Qs and IWM right now. Nothing major yet. Probably going to run out of steam here, though, I think, with the volume coming down. There's not a lot of trading volume, even with CPI this morning. Very odd. Let's see, yesterday, if we compare volume to yesterday, there's more volume coming in, but it doesn't seem like as much as you would usually see for a CPI report. So far, 15 million trades this today. Yesterday, we were traded 60 million times. So I just don't see a lot of volume coming in right now. Oddly enough, low volume day. And it's been very low volume for a while now. Like this first hourly volume candle is just about as big as what we've seen for the past week. Tis very, very odd. 414 credit spread on SPY. That would definitely be I would say that would be a safe trade. I'm still looking at iron condor 409, 412. Looks like we're getting a small pullback for IWM. QQQ is only up 0.15, 0.17 right now. So this is what I'm looking for. If we get this pullback, I'm going to get a lower credit for it. But I think that there's a good chance that we're between 409 and 412 today. What would be the middle of that 409, 412 is $3 wide, so you would want SPY ideally to be at 410.50 at the end of the day, which I think it'll probably be 411 or so, maybe 410.50. But I do think we're going to have a positive day today, just not a super extremely positive day. All right, IWM is pulling back some more. 177.69, so retesting 177.65 again. And then that next level down would be where we go negative for IWM at 177.14. That would be good for my put debit spreads that I had opened. I think I opened those closer to the morning time though, so still a ways to go positive for that trade. What news source do I use? So I use the economic calendar from investing.com for sure. So I'll link this one. And then for other kind of news like geopolitical and Fed speakers and stuff like that, There's this app that's called FinTalk. Don't confuse it with TikTok. It is not the same thing. But FinTalk, it's only available on the Apple App Store and not the Google Play Store, unfortunately. So you have to be part of the team iOS. But that one, you can get like notifications anytime that there's any sort of macroeconomic event. It's been kind of dry the last couple of days, though. It's been really kind of finicky. For some reason, there hasn't been a lot of news posted to it. Whereas if I'm on SPY here on Thinkorswim, I'll get news updates here, but I won't get it on FinTalk sometimes. So those would be the main three sources that I use. FinTalk, SPY here on Thinkorswim, and then the economic calendar from investing.com. All right, looks like we're still getting some support at 177.65, so not looking too promising for SPY right now to come down. These are going for 75 now at the ask. I think I could get out a little bit lower though. Might adjust the call credit spread to 413 and then still going with the 409 put. Let's see. That's still paying 10 cents for the puts. But that's only paying 34 cents versus 48 cents if you're going with the 412 strike price and the iron condor between 409 and 412 by the end of the day. Yeah. Gergevin, Twitter can be a good source for news. Obviously, there is a little bit of personal bias there with some of the Twitter feeds, but all right, we're going to 50 RSI for QQQ. So we could be turning positive. Seems to be some resistance whenever QQQ goes up by more than 0.3% though. Some kind of resistance. I'm guessing at 317. Yeah. Ended up selling off from 317 there. So right now QQQ doesn't want to go above 317, but if that RSI keeps firming up, then 317 would definitely be in the cards. Let's see if I can make a QQQ call debit spread on 317. Hopefully we don't get trapped into this like last time. They're going for 55 cents a piece, so they're somewhat cheap, assuming that SPY or QQQ is only going to go up 25 cents. Obviously, you are taking on a lot of risk to reward there. Paying 55 cents or 50 cents. It's a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio. And momentum is still down right now, so. IWM cracked below 177.65 again. I'm hoping we can crack below 177.50 and then that 177.40 daily low. Then you could get the sell-off, but we'll see. It's been a very slow last 30 minutes or so at these price levels. All right, 0.16% now for IWM. So it's almost negative. Again, you're looking at that 177.14 mark for going negative on IWM today. Looks like QQQ got rejected at 50 on the RSI. Couldn't go to 317. And SPY is just kind of hanging in there at that 411. Yeah, this is live trading for you. All right, these iron condors are going for 61, so they're basically back to break even again. And looking at IWM to judge if we should get out or not. Still getting some more supports. Want to see this go below 177.14, and that'll be a hold for me on SPY iron condors. But if we can't crack below that, I'll have to take the L here. Jesus Christ. It's a long, long wick. All right. QQQ is gaining some support at 316.25. I'm guessing that's where the last few candles have been hovering above 316.20 or 316.25. So keep watching the 177.65 mark for IWM, and then that 177.14 mark for going negative. And then QQQ, you're either going to go above 317 or below that support at 316.20. RSI is, or not RSI, MACD is negative here. So it's looking bearish for MACD, but it is coming up a little bit. These two lines are converging, which would be bullish. What is a chance profit over trading? Well, I guess it really depends on what trade you're making. Some brokers will give you like a % chance of profit. Others, Robinhood doesn't. I think they do, depending on what kind of trade. Like if you just sell to open a call option or a put option, they'll tell you what is your % chance of profit. I don't think that it's entirely accurate though, because it's just kind of a snapshot in time. You could also use like delta value as an estimate. Again, it's only an estimate, very rough estimate, and only a snapshot in time. So it's really hard to predict your probability of profit for really any trade. I would say the main thing to look for is where volatility is. Since volatility is so low at 19 for the VIX right now, you're probably not going to get more than, most of the time, you're not going to get more than like 0.75% move in either direction. You could use the VIX rule of 16. So you divide 1860 current price of VIX divided by 16, and SPY should only move 1.16% every 1 out of 3 days. So you could assume that SPY won't move more than 1% in either direction and probably make a profit on that, just doing iron condors or iron butterflies. That iron butterflies have been doing pretty well. Lots of just kind of flat trading price action as of lately. If you look at SPY, we've been between 406 and 410. We ended up going a little bit above that a little bit to 412.35, and now you're trading in that range again, 410 to 412, right? So you get caught in these ranges, and it seems like it's a pretty decent amount of time, right? We spent 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 trading days in this range, and then we only spent a couple trading days in this 410 to 412 mark. So iron condors, iron butterflies, assuming that SPY won't move like more than 1% a day, could be a decent trade to take on. Looks like QQQ is coming up on 0.3% gain again, so you might get some sell-off at about 317. We'll see. Still below 50 RSI. And rejected again, roughly at 317, but does seem to be wanting to recover here. Unless we just get a sharp reversal. Do iron butterflies have better risk reward? Yes, they do have better risk reward, but the odds of getting the max profit out of it is a lot slimmer. So, you can think of it, the higher probability for your trade to work out for you, the less that you're going to get paid for that. So an iron condor, you're giving it a range. An iron condor, you're giving it a range to make max profit. With an iron butterfly, you're giving a specific price. This is where it's going to be by the end of the day. So pinpointing a single price is a lot more difficult and a lot less likely to work out than setting a range of prices. So you're paid more handsomely accordingly. So you get a better risk reward ratio for the iron butterfly. All right. We went a little bit above 317. Ended up getting rejected so far. I would want to see a flush again, but below like 316.25 to really confirm a sell-off and a reversal here. But we're right at that price level as of right now. Oops, did not mean to zoom in that close. IWM is only up 0.1%. The Dow is still leading, not really changed much. That one is actually starting to aim down at the morning lows. So if you see sell-off for QQQ and DIA, the Dow Jones, obviously SPY would come down with that. But it looks like IWM is the one that's leading our way down right now. You're looking at that 177.14 mark. So if we're going risk off again after going risk on in the pre-market and this morning so far, I don't think that stocks are going to hold up. I think that SPY maybe in the day negative. It's only up 0.2% right now. So it has another 65 cents to drop, which is pretty significant in this with the VIX at 19. But we have a Fed member that's speaking right now. Fed Barkin says, I definitely see demand cooling off. So kind of playing into the CPI report. Let's see what else Barkin had to say. CPI report was pretty much as expected. Obviously, it came in slightly lower, 5% versus 5.1%, so that's not news to us. Barkin also says, I put particular focus on core inflation, and there's still more to do there. Okay, so that basically tells us that he's focused more so on core CPI, which ended up coming in worse, slightly worse than expected, and higher than last month. Sorry, I lost my mouse again. There we go. Actually, core CPI came in at expectations, but then slightly worse than last month. So the Fed is more focused on core, then that would be a negative reading since it came in at expectations and worse than it did last month. So Fed Barkin is what's kind of hosing off the market right now, his comments. QQQ just went negative 0.08% right now. And then IWM just flushed negative 177.05. So let's watch this all play out. And that was like 3 minutes ago that Barkin started to speak. So that's why you're seeing the large flush down for the last 5-10 minutes. All right, I'm up 10, 20, $84 total for this spread. So we'll watch IWM and these spread options at the same time. Pass me a whiskey to take down my anxiety for this options trading. Give me a couple. Where do I see NVIDIA going? Stock moves like crazy. I think that NVIDIA has a long way to fall, but the timing on it is difficult. I would say probably with their next earnings report, they could see a pullback. But the problem with NVIDIA and a lot of the chip makers and basically all tech stocks right now is there's so much hype around artificial intelligence that's kind of propping everything up right now. Last time NVIDIA reported earnings, they mentioned artificial intelligence like 70 times in their earnings call. And that kind of fed into the hype that we've already been seeing around artificial intelligence, which ended up holding their stock up even after their earnings was pretty rough compared to a year ago. Like their earnings per share has dropped, I think something along the lines of 30% over the past year. Let's see, NVIDIA, last year they were doing 136 earnings per share. Now they're only doing 88-cent earnings per share, right? So they've seen a 30% reduction in their earnings, and they're trading at the same price that they were before, right? They were trading at 270 or so, or 260. So does it really make sense that this company is earning less, but they're trading at the same price? To me, that's a no-brainer. To me, this is an obvious short, but the timing of it is kind of finicky. My guess, though, this will probably come down to this 243 support level or so. Maybe a little bit higher, like 250 would be reasonable. But I would probably set my expiration date like 3 or 6 months out. So I would give it a lot of time in order to play out. If you don't, then I would worry that, this hype around artificial intelligence that we're still seeing is going to stick around, and that's probably going to prop their share price up. Yeah, FinTalk, a lot like TikTok. I know, it's very unfortunate that they're named FinTalk, but it's a very, very good news app. They're always on time. They always have like some of the first reports to come out and a lot of reports that I don't see otherwise. QQQ is still hanging in there. 0.03% in the positive. QQQ is down 0.2. Barkin's still speaking. Let's see what else he's got. Barkin says credit card spending for March giving more comfort. Demand is cooling. If you want to get inflation back to the goal, you need multiple months where it's headed there. Trend line matters, but we need to get back to the inflation goal. Certainly past the peak of inflation. I would agree with that we're past peak inflation, unless escalation with China would slow down our supply chains, and still probably enough demand in order to rise inflation again. But let's see what else. Still ways to getting inflation back to 2%. Obviously, we're at 5%, so that's not really much of a surprise. My view is we will react to inflation as it comes in terms of the rate path, looking very hard at demand, labor market, inflation. Labor market is still pretty hot, but we did see a cooling of the labor market in the latest jobs report from last week. So, was the data recessionary today? I don't think that it was recessionary so much. I mean, it's still up, 5% year over year. So that's still a lot of inflation. In order to be a recessionary, I would think that you would need to see like a huge pullback in spending and like an inflation reading of like 4.5%, like a huge miss to the downside, right? Our expectations was 5.1%, and we came in at 5. If we came in at like 4.5%, then yeah, I would say that's recessionary. But coming in just below expectations, I don't think that's recessionary. We ended up bouncing at 410 here. IWM getting some support again at the break even for yesterday, 177.14. We went a little bit below that, 176.86. So could be a good time to close out of these bad boys. I opened 10 at 56. SPY's trading at 410.30 right now. And we got the downside trade for IWM with a put debit spread, assuming it's going to be below 175 by the end of the week. So we can still take advantage if it does keep falling. Just want to get a better price on this, hopefully. But not sure if that's super promising. QQQ got some support at 315 again. That morning low, 314.85. Now it's above 315, currently at 315.66. So watch 315 mark here, and then IWM, that break even at 177.14. All right, these are going for 52 now. So probably going to take profits shortly after we go lower for IWM or QQQ. Definitely down momentum today, though. Even for SPY, this is at 37 RSI, so nothing is very promising today. DIA, even the Dow Jones is slipping right now at 337.50, down from the 338.64 just 10 minutes ago before Barkin started speaking. So I guess Barkin is what's really weighing the markets down right now after his comments for core inflation, with their eyes on core inflation instead of regular inflation, which really shouldn't come as much of a surprise. They've always been focused on core PCE, which is their favorite measure of inflation. So not really sure why the markets are reacting so much to it, but with core PCE or core CPI coming in higher than last month, obviously that gives the Fed more room to cut rate, or more room to raise rates by that 25 basis points. So you're not seeing a drop in that. Let's see. FOMC countdown. Right now there's still like a 70% chance last I checked. Now there's a 72% chance, so odds of 25 basis points at the next meeting is still rising. Interest rates are still going up with the 10-year at 3.426. So that's why you're getting the sell-off probably right now. Yields are still basically where they were yesterday, even after the good inflation report this morning. Thoughts on selling a put for American Airlines with the high premiums? Yeah, I think that selling a put for the airlines ahead of the earnings in the next couple weeks could be a pretty good trade. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of, buying stocks as of right now, just because I do think that there's a lot more recession vibes to come, which would weigh negatively, especially on airlines. So I probably wouldn't want to be a purchaser of, American Airlines, United, Delta, whatever, their stocks. But, you are going to get a good, handsome credit with it down 9% today. And if you're looking to exit this trade shortly after earnings, I could see that being a good trade. But if you're planning to hold that for an extended period of time, like 3-6 months, I would say that would be a no-go. For me, at least. Should have bought a put on Uber this morning. Let's see, Uber. Haven't checked on Uber in a while. Down 1.8%. Not a huge drop, but yeah, pretty significant. It was trading in that channel, or not a channel. Yeah, I guess it is a channel right here. When it was at 32, that would have been good short. So we're seeing IWM and QQQ pulling back, both negative for the day. The Dow is still slightly holding right here at 337. So SPY might end up staying above 410. So keep on monitoring IWM for a further sell-off, but I don't think that it's going to go too far negative today. Services PMI, that's an old report. All right. Yeah, I think I'm looking to get out of these here. I don't know. I'm kind of torn between closing them now and waiting, since we're still below 50 RSI. We're still bearish right now. But obviously you're going to get some support at 410 just with that psychological round number. And then IWM trading just at break even. I think it's best to just take profits here and then hold on to the IWM trade. So you're going for 50 at the bid. Opened them at 56, 40 each. All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to get out here. Don't want to risk us going back up here. Yeah. I'll have to replace the order, I think. Okay. Yeah. So we're just breaking even for QQQ. And Dow is leading. I don't know. Very, very torn. I wouldn't be surprised if we went lower for SPY, but at the same time, I'm more bullish than I am bearish at 410 after the CPI report. So we could even open maybe a put credit spread, assuming like over 409 or 408 in order to hedge that too. Depending on the credit, obviously. It's only paying 22 credit, so not a lot for $1.25. Yeah, definitely some support at 410 right now. But below 50 RSI. So if you're betting on the trend, you're definitely betting on the downside. But if you're looking at price levels, could stay above 410. And it's really going to depend on where QQQ and IWM head here with their break-evens at the moment. If they keep slipping, I would think that SPY would keep coming down, especially with the Dow pulling back. That would weigh negatively on SPY, but hopefully we don't just trade around flat here. Probably going to be the case. That's usually the case whenever I want to try to exit a trade. Gotta love it. Where would I put an iron butterfly for right now? I think 411 is a good mark to watch for the day if we do end up recovering. And that would be slightly bullish, assuming that SPY would go up another 80 cents. But obviously you want to keep an eye out for the NASDAQ and IWM and what they do right here. So QQQ is down 0.1% now, 315.50. You're probably going to get some supports at 315 again, I would think. But yeah, all the momentum is down today. Looking at looking at below 50 RSI for QQQ, IWM, and even the Dow is down on RSI at 34 right now. So you're not looking at any kind of positive momentum as of right now, at least. Obviously, anything could change that. Hopefully we're bear flagging here. What is the software I'm using for watching the charts? This is Thinkorswim that I'm using right here. All right, QQQ is down to 315.20, so getting very close to the 315 mark. And then IWM is at 177. These iron condors are down to 45 cents, so now they're getting pretty good, pretty juicy profit. I think I'd be okay with taking profits at 45 a piece. Yeah, 45. Maybe I can take profits for half of them. Let's see, I got 56 each times 50, or 56. I open 10. So if I open, or if I keep 5 open, I can still make 280 by the end of the day. And then I'll obviously reduce my risk by 45 times 5, $200. I think that would be a more comfortable position to be in, at least. So I'll close half and then hold the rest. All right. Close 5 at 44. So now I'm only risking $200 on the trade, which I'm a lot more comfortable with than 400. Obviously, I won't get paid as much, but that's okay. Let's see. And we just dropped as soon as I closed that, of course. Gotta love it. Closing options alert. Premium just took profits on 5 of 10. SPY iron condors expire today, 412 at 44 each. And my strike prices were 399, 400 to 410, 411. And now these are trading for 35 cents. All right, IWM is down 0.2 and QQQ is down 0.4. Dow is slipping negative, so everything is aiming down now for sure. All right, let's check in on the IWM put debit spread. These are trading for 35, so they're back to break even for me. I opened 10 of them at 35, and now they're going for 35 still. So if we really start selling off our IWM, that'll be good for this trade. Let's see. $56 minus 44, 12, $60 profit so far, and another like $200 on the line. 45 times or 55 times 5, $300 on the line almost. That's pretty wild though. We ended up going to 414 almost, and now we're slipping to 409. 1.25%. So you should see the VIX starting to go up, but I still don't think that we're going to see a VIX above 20. Still doubtful for that. All right. I think that's all the trades that I got for y'all this morning. I'm going to hold the SPY Iron Condor, assuming that this bearish momentum is going to continue. Not going to make any more trades, but watching IWM with that put debit spread, assuming under 175 by the end of the week. What options are good for buying? I would say downside trades, put options are probably better in terms of risk reward as of right now. Even though we've fallen 1.25%, they're still pretty cheap with a VIX below 20. So if you're setting your expiration date like 3-4 weeks out and giving yourself enough time, I think that could end up working out really well. But SPY is negative now, 0.1%. Dow is breaking even, and QQQ is down almost 0.5% after this. So you're getting close to that 313 mark. Oh, God. The infamous 313. Every time it hits 313, it just murderously rallies up after that. So watch for the 313 mark on QQQ. If it slips below that, definitely negative. But all the indices are down. Momentum is shifting down today, even after the good CPI report. So doesn't seem like a very promising market for the bulls today. So that's all the trading I got for y'all today, and I will catch y'all tomorrow at 9:30. See everybody.